What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about virtual wholesaling. As most know, I do all my deals virtually. So people ask me tons of questions about virtual wholesaling. It just blows their mind, I think, that I can do all this from my phone or computer and never leave my house. So today we're going to dive into it, get into the details, and just try to make it as simple as possible where you can do it and not feel overwhelmed. So the biggest questions I have about virtual wholesaling is, how do you figure out repairs and how does buyers look at the house? It's not as hard as you think. So repairs, pretty easy. What I do is I just tell the seller, like, hey, can you shoot me pics and videos of the house? Pics are fine, videos are even better. So of all the repairs and just the general idea, so I kind of know what's going on. And has anything ever been replaced on it recently? Have you done any maintenance and whatnot? If it's a motivated seller, they're going to send you pics, videos, because they want to sell the house. If it's a true motivated seller, they're going to do that for you. They'll get them to you probably same day or within the next day. If they don't send you pics, follow up with them. I usually follow up until 3 days out. And at 3 days out, I said, hey, I haven't been able to get any pics of the repairs or anything, but if you're interested, I can offer you this. When I throw up my offer, it is a super low ball offer, because I don't know what the condition of the house really is. And I just throw out a low ball. They either say, no, that's just too low, I'll get you pics, or they'll say, yeah, I'll take that offer. If they say yes, they'll take that offer, you should be scared, because most likely this house is way worse than what you even anticipated, and you probably offer too much, sadly to say. But you can always go back and renegotiate once you actually see the repairs. As for, well, what happens if they don't send it at all? You never get them. How do you know what to tell your buyers? Well, here's the next step of the repairs. So as I start advertising the property to cash buyers, they want to go look at it. Well, if most of my properties are vacant, but let's just say a seller lives in it, well, it's simple. I'll say, hey, I'm going to have a buddy of mine. He's a partner, investor. He's going to come by and check out the place. Either one, you can put a lockbox on the door, which my contract states the seller agrees to putting a lockbox on the door, and I will pay them for the lockbox. They have to put a key in it, or because that's the easiest way. Last thing you want to do is try to have a seller meet up with every cash buyer that's going to go by there. I almost pretty much demand them putting a lockbox. I'm like, hey, yeah, so here's what happens. We're going to throw a lockbox on the door. If they refuse to put one on it, like, well, I just don't have time to do it, or I don't have the money, I'll cash up the money. Worst case, I found people in the area through Facebook investor groups that'll go put a lockbox. Agents will go put one on. You can just say, hey, anyone will go put a lockbox on? I'll shoot you $50 and the money for the lockbox. All you gotta do is send me the receipt once you buy the lockbox. I'll give you $50 and pay for the lockbox itself. They'll put one on for you. The homeowner will put the key in. I've never had an issue where a homeowner just refused completely not to put a key in one. If they do, I'm like, well, this ain't gonna work because I need access to that property as the contract states. You agree to do this. If you don't want to, agree to it, then we can just terminate the contract. I don't sweat over a lead. So if they don't want to play ball, put a lockbox on the door, put a key in it, I don't want a headache. So it's not worth it to me. I'll just move on to the next lead. If they really want to sell, they'll reach back out. They'll want to play ball. As for your cash buyers, so this part, your cash buyers will go look at the property, say there's a lockbox on it. They go check it out, and they're like, man, them repairs are just, they're way worse, like worse than what I can't be at your price. Like, this is just not even close to be doable. This is where most people end up failing as a wholesaler. Ask for feedback, ask for pictures, ask for videos. Ask your cash buyer, like, hey, I wasn't aware of that, seller didn't mention on that. They wouldn't even send me pictures of any of this. So can you do pictures and videos of everything you're seeing so I can send it back to the seller so we can renegotiate and I can try to make a price that works? What price do you have in mind that you need to be at max offer? Because I do have other cash buyers looking at it. There you go. You just pick their brain. They're going to do the work for you, and they're going to tell you where they need it to be at, so you know what price you have to beat with the seller. If they say, hey, I need to be at 100K, well, you got to get below 100K with the seller so that you can make an assignment fee. Your cash buyers are not going to eat you. You have to ask them. If they're wanting leads from you and you want to have that relationship, they're going to help you out. They know how this game works. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Most of my cash buyers, they'll send me videos, pics, and everything. They don't care. They know how it works. They just, and I got a lot of new cash buyers. I tell them the same thing. I may have never done a deal with them. 75% I haven't. I'll still tell them the same thing. Hey, shoot me vids or pics of what you're seeing because I wasn't aware of any of this, and I'll see what I can do. Simple as that. They'll do the work for me. I go back to the seller, renegotiate. That's how virtual wholesaling works when it comes to figuring out repairs, getting a cash buyer look at it. Getting a lockbox on the door is the main thing. It's on my contract. I push for it to get put on there within the first 24 hours, so that way I can have cash buyers go check out the property. If the homeowner lives there, and like, well, I just don't want people showing up, like, well, I'll let you know when someone comes by. If it is cash buyers, I'll tell them, like, hey, yeah, just go by, tell them you're a friend of Paul's. You know, you're checking out the place. You're going to get a quote for insurance, repairs, whatever. Most cash buyers will do whatever you need them to do because, like I said, they know the game. And if they don't, they're going to learn the game. You can't be afraid to play the game. You can be transparent with the homeowner if they ask you, well, are you not buying it? So I get asked this a lot. Well, why don't you come by and look at it? Well, I'm not. I just tell them I don't have time. I don't say I'm not local. I always just say I don't have time. I'm like, I have a lot going on. I have people in the area that handles that. I'm not always in the area. I just don't have time. I was like, so if you want to get cash, I send people to come and do the stuff for me. It's the way you run a business. It's that simple. I mean, and if they say, well, are you keeping the property? I'm like, well, sometimes I keep it. Sometimes I pass along to other investors. It just depends on what I have going on. Is it worth me doing so I can make money off of it? Is it not? I'm going to pass along. I have a lot of exit strategy. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I do know you will get your cash money at closing. That's all I do know. So regardless of what I do with it, you're still going to walk away with what we agreed to, and everybody's happy. And that's all they want to know. They just want reassurance. Am I going to get paid? So you can reach out to agents. Agents can, even get involved with virtual deals. They can meet and facilitate the deal between the seller and the buyer and say, hey, I'm here representing Mr. McComas, or if it's under my LLC, PR Investments, I'm representing them. This is, a potential buyer he's going to sell it to, because once again, my contract states they agree to facilitate third parties to look at that place and help me sell the house if I decide to sell it. Why? It's on the contract. It's in black and white of the contract. I have never got a real estate agent involved with help showing houses. I never involve agents at all. I've only done one deal ever with an agent, and it was okay. It's just not my cup of tea. I try to keep my stuff simple. Simplicity gets deals. So let's recap this. Seller needs to put a lockbox on the door, and if they refuse, you either just say, okay, well, this is going to be a hassle for me to have people come out, check out repairs, and, get quotes for me. That's not how I do business. It's not worth my time and effort to try to get a hold of you every time someone needs to look at the place. It's an inconvenience to you. It's an inconvenience to me. It's an inconvenience for contractors. So it's just not a convenience. So if you can't put a lockbox, it's just not worth a hassle. Most of the time they will put a lockbox. Ask for pics, ask for vids. That's it. Ask for pics, ask for vids. They'll give you pics and vids. Ask cash buyers if they say, hey, just say you send a cash buyer and you never hear back, but they went and looked at it. Like, hey, what'd you think of the property? You get feedback, and they're going to tell you, oh, it's just not for me. Why? That's it. I'm like, cool. What number do you need to be at? And can you shoot me did you get pics or videos of the repairs? Can you shoot them to me? If they say no, like, well, if you're really interested, will you go shoot me some pics and vids? And I'll try to make that number work for both of us. If they're a true cash buyer and they're interested, they will send someone to do it or do it themselves and get you those pics and vids. It's that simple. And then once you do that, you do assignment of contract. So this is another big question as well. How do you do closing? All virtual, obviously. My closing company, here's how closing works. I email the purchase agreement to the seller, they sign it. I send it to my closing company in that state, I email it to them. I say, hey, do not start any title work, title search, nothing until I find a cash buyer to buy this. And once I get an assignment contract and a non-refundable placed, then we can start. Then I find a cash buyer. I send them an assignment of contract or a BC double closing contract via email, because obviously they're in another state too. Send it to them. They sign it. There's like, okay, got to put the EMD down, the non-refundable. They will either take it in person as a check, a cashier's check, or they would just wire it. I've had both done. I've had it done within 30 minutes of us doing the deal, because it was a hot lead. I'm like, you got to put it non-refundable by 10 a.m. the next business day. I was like, but I got other offers. So they go and hurry and put it. Once I confirm, and they're like, hey, we placed the non-refundable. I'm like, cool. I'll email the title company to confirm. They confirm it was placed. I send them the assignment agreement. They have it. I'm like, go ahead and start the paperwork, title work, all that. I'll try to get to closing as quick as possible. Title work's usually 24 to 48 hours, almost every time for me. Very rarely does it go past that. States may vary though. Once the title work happens, here's the next part. Here's how this happens when it's virtual. Either the seller will go physically to the closing company to sign at closing, or the title company will email them closing documents. They print them off. They go in front of a notary somewhere, sign them. They provided a overnight label within the email that they printed off. They will put them in an envelope and overnight them right back. Or they physically go to the closing. Same with the cash buyer. They either show up with a cashier's check for the amount on the HUD statement that's owed, or they wire the money in. They either physically go there at closing with the seller, or they do it virtual, same way. Email, print off, notarize, whatever. And then the seller brings the keys. They either will bring them to closing. In my case, I just tell them leave them in the lockbox. And I'll tell the buyer, just keep the lockbox. Yes, I spent $50 or whatever possibly on the lockbox. Oh well, if I'm making 5, 10, 15K, oh well, I don't care. So that's how closing works. Now, after the seller and the buyer sign, and no, do they freak out when they see each other? Not really, because usually the seller signs in one room and the buyer signs in another. It's usually what always happens. But regardless, if they go in the same room, which my title company has never done that, but if they see each other, it's no big deal, because he or she got paid, he or she got the house, everybody's happy. I let them know where the keys are, and that's the done deal. How you get paid? Simple. They will either overnight you a check, or they will wire the money to your bank account within usually an hour. And that's how virtual wholesaling works, people. So, hope this video helped. I think that's the most common questions I get asked is repairs and viewings, and then how closing works. And that's how it works. That's how it's worked for all of my deals. It's never been an issue. It's just a lot of people, I don't think, can process it in their head that you can do this from another state and never leave your home. I do it every day. You just got to know how to facilitate, talk to people, and it's more like you're easing their mind of, well, I'm not going to be there because I have people that do that for me. Like, that's how businesses work. You don't see the president of Walmart at Walmart checking people out. So, hope this helps. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you all on the next video.